not in front
How's
of the
the,
light.
how's the team coming?
We won. It was a berm.
Everyone please rise. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Nash.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, thoughtfulness in all of our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of our community. Amen.
Amen. Alderwoman Gould, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd entertain a motion, please, for the adoption of the minutes of July 2nd, 16th, and 24th, please. Nash and Gould, is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. At this time, I'd like to recognize Alderwoman Gould.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to take a moment before we begin this evening to talk about two milestone events that we had this past weekend. Both the Ockham and East Great Plain Fire Department celebrated their 75th anniversary. Ockham had a banquet on Saturday evening, and East Great Plain had a rededication at their station on Sunday morning. And I would just like to congratulate Chief Robert LaChapelle from Ockham and all of his members on 75 years, and I wish them another 75 years of continued success, and also to Chief Keith Milton at the East Great Plain Fire Department, along with their members, on 75 more years of wonderful service. Combined, in the city of Norwich, we have 491 years of volunteer firefighting service out of all of these departments, and they are a tremendous asset to our city. And I just wanted to let everybody know, if you didn't know about these milestones, that this past weekend, two departments, sister departments, celebrating 75 years each. So congratulations to both of those departments, the officers and members.
Thank you. Thank you. City Manager's report, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is the City Manager's report for August 6th, 2018. I attended the monthly Harbor Management meeting, school facility, and Southeastern Council of Government meetings. I had my monthly meeting with department heads, fire chiefs, and Bob Mills of NCDC. Mr. Mills will be submitting a quarterly report along with staff reports starting with the quarter ending September 30th. Union negotiations were also held for the Public Works. I had discussions with Bridget Marks, Human Resource Director, regarding updating the job description for the fire chief. I have decided to post both internally and externally, and will be talking to the 4 battalion chiefs regarding the upcoming transition. The position will be posted in the next 2 weeks, and each battalion chief will be acting chief for approximately a 2-week period. The position announcement will close in mid to late September, followed by preliminary screening and final interviews in early to mid-October. Depending on whether we select an internal or external candidate, the new chief will begin around the beginning of November. The development agreement for 347 Central Avenue has been fully executed. The city purchased the lot at 226, 230 Yantic Street, which will be used for the Uncas Leap project, and title to the Read and Use building has been transferred from the city to the Women's Institute. The Ellis Ruley Memorial Park, located at 28 Hammond Avenue, was dedicated on July 27th. Mr. Ruley was an African-American folk artist who lived at the property before his untimely death. Congratulations to the committee, and thank you to those who contributed funds, items, and services or donated their time in completing this project. Their perseverance has paid off. The city's first Peruvian Street Festival was held on July 29th on Franklin Street. The event was part of the grant-funded Global City Norwich program, which is funded with $100,000 from Chelsea Groton Bank and $25,000 from the city. Hundreds of visitors filled the street along with numerous vendors and entertainment. The Norwich Winterfest Committee has turned over the parade to the Norwich Events Organization, Inc. The Winterfest Parade has been in existence for over 30 years, and it is a wonderful community tradition. It will be held on Saturday, December 1st this year. The city's lockbox tax payments for the month of July were 4,030 payments, totaling $8,145,000. Payments at Norwich People's Bank branches during July were 905 payments, totaling $1,012,000. This produced shorter lines at the tax office and allowed the city to invest approximately $9 million more quickly. Congratulations to the Ockham and East Great Plains Fire Department on their 75th anniversary celebrations, and to Rita Frechette, who celebrated her 100th birthday on July 30th. Rita was the director of the city's emergency management for many years. That concludes my report for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there questions of the city manager? Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Salamone, on the opening for the fire chief, have all 4 battalion chiefs expressed an interest in becoming a full-time permanent chief?
I don't know the answer to that yet. I haven't talked to all of them. I'm going to be talking to them individually and seeing what their interest is.
So then my question is, it seems like having each one of them serve as acting chief for a 2-week period feels like an audition for a job they may not want. I don't understand the
I think it's
greater purpose there.
I think it's partially an addition and partially it's good experience anyway, because each battalion chief can be called upon to be acting chief on occasion. So to be acting chief is a good exercise for them, and something that'll be good for their career development either way.
Okay. What about other internal candidates? Will they be afforded the same opportunity?
Yeah, oh yes. The other internal candidates?
Other internal candidates, serving
If there
line officer.
if there are other internal candidates, we'll see what that is. At this point, I have no idea who's going to be an internal candidate and who is not.
So would another internal candidate have that same 2-week period of acting as the chief? Is my
Probably not.
question.
Probably not.
One more question on the tax payments in the second to last paragraph.
Yes.
Are we on pace in terms of where we should be at the close of July in terms of our revenue collections?
It may be too close at the close. The close was on August 1st. I don't know if we have year-to-date collection figures at this point. Do we have that, Josh? He's fast.
I don't have those numbers on me. The last time I checked, we appear to be right on pace. The best time to measure the July collection season is actually August 31st because of timing issues with the payments on the deadline that have been postmarked, say July 31st or August 1st, that may have taken 3 or 4 days to. So it's really, I'll be able to give you something for the 8/31. The 2 months ended 8/31, that should be a really good indicator of where we are compared to the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions? Yes, Alderwoman Filbert.
My first question is, somebody needs to explain to me why we have 5 uniformed officers, the chief and the deputy chief, in attendance here this evening. It's making me feel very uncomfortable.
There's no threat if you hear Felicia's on the radio line.
I'm sorry?
You hear Felicia's on the radio line.
Okay, my second question is, in regards to the Peruvian festival, I wasn't aware that the city was contributing to this under the global. So can someone explain to me how much money is left in our portion of the global City Norwich initiative?
May I? Yeah. Okay. The city manager is correct that $25,000 is listed as a line item towards a portion of match of the $100,000 from Chelsea. Those city funds can be applied towards costs like setting up the stand, moving it, or police presence. That is the idea behind having some matching dollars towards what the bank itself provided. And so I can tell you that I think it was an $800 fee for moving and setting up the stand, the band itself, those kinds of things. Otherwise, that would have to come from potentially the Public Works Department, which really isn't fair to the Public Works Department. There's a similar line item in our council budget for veteran services. There's a cost setting up stands for veterans observances on Chelsea Parade, or even out on, if it's at Norwich Town, if it's held out there, like Tribute to America was recently. We actually saved money this time because the stand has been left there because of the summer concert series on Friday nights. So there will be no setup charge for that particular event on Tribute to America. But when the stand is set up, it actually is a higher cost, $1,000 to us for labor and moving the stand and stuff like that. So those are two appropriate areas where the city can help with these large events. And speaking of the event, I would ask the city manager to amend his notes, because according to our police who were there, the count was actually 1,400 to 1,500 people who attended, which is an amazing first step for this program. And I see Suki is here. Thank you, Suki, and for everyone that helped throughout the city and the organizations and businesses. It's a great first start. It really is. Other questions of the city manager? Yes, Alderman Filbert.
I also have some questions and concerns with the retirement of the current chief and the hiring process for the new chief. I'm not sure that everybody in the community is aware of the fact that our current fire chief is retiring. I have never officially been notified. The chief shared it with me. I think that it's very important that we let the citizens of the city know that our current chief is leaving, just as when our current or prior police chief was leaving, we let everybody know. But having said that, I believe that Chief Scan will be here for probably another month or so. And I have grave concerns about this transition period of the 4 battalion chiefs taking a 2-week spin at the job. This is not take your firefighter to work business. This is a serious, responsible position. Alderman DeLucia brought up a very good point. Have we determined that the battalion chiefs, all or any, are interested? Have the rank and file of the department been advised that if they should be interested in this position, I would certainly hope that they would be awarded the same exact opportunity as the battalion chief, because I'm going to tell you something. If you say to the battalion chief, you can have it for 2 weeks so I can evaluate you and get a feel for your position, but you take a rank and file fireman who's been there for, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you say to him or her, well, you wouldn't say anything because they don't know about it, to the best of my knowledge. But even if they did know about it, what is the process for them to apply? And John, I think you just said that they would not be given the same opportunity.
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
No, I'm not done. That they wouldn't have the 2-week opportunity. This needs to be completely above board, and if the city of Norwich is truly an equal opportunity employer, then you need to, we as a city, and you as the chief operating officer, need to make sure that this opportunity is afforded to any existing internal firemen, just as you would do in the police department. I really have, the way it stands now, our current chief will be long gone before we have a new chief in place. Transition to me means that you have someone in place and he or she helps with the transition to the new employee. So I would like to talk to you at more length about this because I think there are a lot of things here that need to be addressed. The most important being that each member of that department has the equal opportunity to be given the same sort of accommodations as the battalion chiefs.
If I may, Mayor, to
Please.
respond just to a few. I did have a long talk with you prior to tonight. I certainly will have other discussions with you, Councilor Philbrick, if you so desire. The point of the matter is that everybody is not qualified to be the chief. The job description has components of it on years of experience, rank within the department, other criteria that would exclude most of the rank and file firefighters because of the qualifications that need to be adhered to in the examination. So everybody that is eligible to apply is welcome to apply. So it's very much above board. There will be all the opportunity in the world for each person to go through the process to see if they're qualified and to be interviewed. So this is no different than any department head to be recruited. As far as the transition, this couldn't go any more smooth because we're fortunate, and this is the only department that has it. We have 4 deputy fire chiefs, 4 battalion chiefs. The closest to we have on that is we have 1 deputy police chief. So we have 4 capable battalion chiefs which can ease in the transition and have on many occasions when the chief has not been here, have taken over for the department in a transparent, smooth way. So I don't think that it's fair to cast aspersions at the deputy chiefs, battalion chiefs. They certainly are capable during the transition to have full capabilities of the department. You might note that when the police chief was hired, I waited quite a few months before I appointed our present police chief, and part of it was to see how Chief Daley would react to being acting chief. And it wasn't filled for at least 5 or 6 months. You probably know better than me because you know when you were appointed. But, and the department functioned very well with actually at that point no deputy and just the acting chief. So there are many things there that you said that I don't agree with, and I'd be glad to sit down with you and go over your concerns when we don't have to take up all the time of the council tonight.
All right, thank you for your explanation, and I certainly was not casting any sort of aspersions on the battalion chiefs.
Thank you. Is there further comment? Yes, Alderman Burnham.
Just a quick question. Thank you for the explanation on that. That was going to be one of my questions on this transition. Is there any concerns about leadership, with leadership turning over every 2 weeks for 2 months? Is there,
No.
in terms of continuity and safety and operations? I was just asking.
I'm not concerned at all because
Okay.
they all share in that. They all have their own shifts, which they're still going to be responsible for. They have excellent communication, and this will give them Actually, this is a kind of a teaching opportunity that will give them an opportunity to have a broader-based approach to management. And I don't get this that often to this opportunity, so I think it'll be a positive thing.
And our fearless chief will still be here for most of that, so.
Thank you. Are there further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, John. Next is the citizen comment on resolutions. And we have Laura Harrington, first person to sign up.
Hi, I'm Laura Harrington with Unified Business Solutions. I'm here because I partnered with the Lofts of Panema Mills to host a beer fest on their private property on October 20th of this year. The event will generate thousands of dollars in order to be used to give back to the community for other nonprofit events in Norwich, after expenses, of course. We will sell tickets. Up to 600 tickets will be sold, and that's about the gist of it. You have any questions?
That's not what happens now.
Oh,
Thank you. For your
okay.
comments. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Jill Fritchie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jill Fritchie. I'm with the community manager for Foundry 66 and NCDC. I'm here to speak on behalf of one of our members at Foundry 66, Laura Harrington. She owns Unify, a business marketing solutions company. Laura was instrumental in reviving the Rose Arts Festival. She co-chaired the event in its first year. The level of organization and community collaboration has become the gold standard of how to run events in this city. Last month, I was here in front of the council representing a wrap-up of our first year at Foundry 66 and the members and the economic impact our members had on the community. And it was well over $400,000 in its first year. Our members are contributing to the recovery of our local economy. Other factors in our economic recovery are the community events and the festivals. Recently, many of you, I saw faces here, were at the Peruvian Festival on Franklin Street. Well over 1,000 people attended the festival, many of whom had never stepped foot in Norwich before, but they will be back. Creating interesting events and festivals for people who want to attend have become an economic driver in that recovery. Private business investment in these types of activities are vital. Dozens of local businesses will participate in this event. The Panema Mills will benefit with hundreds of new eyes on their property. The village residents will benefit from having a unique recreational and entertainment venue in their neighborhood, something that part of the city hasn't seen in quite some time. I strongly support this event and believe Laura Harrington will execute this event with the highest standard of integrity and public safety in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else like to speak under citizen comment on resolutions on the agenda? Anyone else like to speak on citizen comment? Yes, sir. Mr. Kraft.
Good evening, David Crabb, 47 Prospect Street. Even though this agenda was prepared before the July deadline for city taxes, it doesn't portray the Christmas in July spirit that crossed my mind when a tough budget session mill rate was adopted. The tax line that I was in was delayed quite a while because two taxpayers were paying past due taxes, which might be related to the President Trump's economic recovery. My two-page handout is a reminder about how the nation, state, and city changed since Y2K. The tax burden distribution is useful, although the Obama administration upset the income distribution a la the budget income pie chart now is household income because dependents remain on parents' health insurance plans. While Resolution 3 street card reflected a $15,000 purchase, which was two-thirds the 99 revaluation for, 47 Prospect, the street card reevaluation is the ballpark for 47 Prospect since my lawsuit for the excessive valuation during the first decade. Resolution 6 is a precedent that mimics the council activity leading to the War-Regan Agreement. Countless lawyers have spent hours at this lectern, the most recent being the gas station proposal for West Main Street's former Shell station. Resolution 4, Fund Search located 3/4 of the total listed for 8 agencies. The first was Public Works, the second was Law, the third was Contingency, the fourth was Assessment, the fifth was City Council, 6 was Elections, 7 was the Planning and Neighborhood Services, and 8th was Human Resources. Good shakedown there. President Pro Tem DeSaulnier's declaration not to change anything has held to date. Will that continue? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else under citizen comment? Yes, sir, Chief.
May I don't have anything to speak on the resolution, but I would like to make a statement to the council. I know Mr. Megalo.
Why don't we do it right at the end of citizen comment, that we keep things moving that way. Thank you. Anyone else under citizen comment? Third and final request. Is anyone else under citizen comment? Yes, sir. Yeah.
Good evening, Greg Grippo, 209 Boswell Avenue. I listened to the Kepler presentation made in June. I heard Mr. Mills give his plea before you a little while ago. I was struck by his sincerity in attempting to do something, anything. I heard all the key words: metrics, decoupling, regional growth, statistics, investments in infrastructure, and of course the new slogan, invest in Norwich. I heard Mayor Nystrom talk of activity. I heard Alderwoman Gould ask, why are we losing commercial taxpayers? Bob said we don't want people to disparage Norwich. And I ask, is $8.5 million bond going to change decades of poor decisions that have left Norwich with its current image, the image of stagnancy, mediocrity, a city riddled with blight, good old boy networks, and a multitude of city councils that have ignored citizens when they even come up here to voice their opinions? Will $8.5 million change that? I sincerely doubt it. Yet, surprisingly, I do support Resolution 2. As I have asked already, Alderwoman Gould, that, and because you are an NCDC board member, that the minutes and the agendas be posted on NCDC's website. I have asked this in the past. They have yet to be posted. Considering we have $8.5 million possibly at future stake, I think it's the citizens' right to be informed as to what's going on with NCDC, and that we shouldn't have to publicly knock on the door to find out this information. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else under? Yes, sir.
Since you didn't ask the others, my name is Rob Anders, 31 East Avenue. I'm rising in opposition to these two new ordinances, not specifically because of the programs that they're meant to fund.
The ordinances are not here tonight. They're only to be posted for a public hearing in 2 weeks.
Can I express the...
No, we're not taking comment because you would want your comment as part of the public record. would not necessarily be part of the public record with the
that in
ordinance
2 weeks?
if you did it tonight. So in 2 weeks, on the
Okay,
20th,
I'll come back.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else under citizen comment? Anyone else under citizen comment? Third and final time, I'd like to then declare citizen comment closed. Thank you. And with the permission of the body, please. Chief, welcome.
Thank you, good counsel. I appreciate this. I know it's highly irregular. I'd just like to take a moment of your time to personally thank the city of Norwich and the citizens therein for the opportunities that I've had here, both challenging and greatly rewarding. It's allowed me an opportunity to grow as a person spiritually, philosophically, and educationally, intellectually. After working for 13 and a half years here, I can honestly tell you that I do understand what Dr. King meant by the measure of a person, by the content of character, because it allowed me to grow in ways that I just never thought would be possible. And I'm forever grateful for that opportunity, and I want to thank the city of Norwich for that personally. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
New business resolutions
Please.
relative to authorizing These Guys Brewing Company, LLC, to use a portion of the parking lot located at 8284 Franklin Street for an outside event October 7th, 2018.
Thank you. I'd ask for a motion to bring this forward and to refer it to our Parking Commission, please. Alderman DeLucia, second by Alderman Burnham. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those, I'm sorry, please. Yes,
So may
Alderman
we
Filbert.
comment on the resolution, or do we have to wait till after it goes to the Parking Commission?
What's that?
Get a continued statement. Is this going to the next meeting?
Yeah, this will actually not be voted on tonight because we're referring it to the Parking Commission for their purview. So we'd like to invite you to speak on the 20th with your concerns. Does that address your needs, or I can change the motion I made and just ask to bring it forward to allow for discussion and then ask for a separate motion for a referral, whatever you would wish.
Oh, it's fine. the way it is.
It's okay? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and for the public's edification and the members of council, the motion is to postpone and refer to the Parking Commission so that it is brought back on the 20th of August for final action. Seeing all those in favor? Unanimous, 7-0.
New business resolutions number 2, relative to participation in a cost-sharing program with the City of Norwich to construct concrete sidewalks and setting a public hearing date.
Motion to bring it forward, please. Alderman Nash, is there a second? Alderman Gould? There's discussion?
August 20th?
Yeah. For members, the date would be the 20th of August?
Never mind.
Yeah? All those in favor? Unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
Number 3, relative to City Manager Salamone conveying property at 212 Prospect Street.
Motion to bring it forward, please. Alderman Gould, second. Alderwoman Burnham. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. 7-0.
New business resolution 4, relative to transfer funds among various departments to close out fiscal year 2017-18.
Motion to bring it forward, please. Alderwoman Gould, second by Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
Mayor, I'd like to ask Mr. Pothier to come to the podium. I have a question about the budget increase, one of the budget increases.
Please.
Good evening.
Thank you, Josh. The last item, Norwich Public Schools, $517,000.
Yes.
I'm wondering how this impacts. This is obviously to stave off some of the budget shortfall. I would imagine this does not cover all of their budget shortfall, or is this for a specific project that costs $517,000?
This partially offsets their deficit. In the last paragraph of the resolution says that the remaining budget deficit of $583,000 for Norwich Public Schools shall be addressed in a separate ordinance. So that's the ordinance that's ordinance number 3 on tonight's agenda.
So thank you, because you took me to my question, because we heard we've heard several numbers. We heard 1.5. We heard that it might be as high as 2, and so we've settled on $1.1 million.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Is there any further questions? Yes, Alderman Philbrick.
I just want you to know, y'all, to know that I'm feeling better, so I'm getting back to my old self. These resolutions really upset me on many, many levels. The key word here is budget. I have a budget in my household. You have a budget in your household. I would assume that a greater percentage of the people in the audience have a budget in their household. When I run out of money, I don't go to Social Security and say, you know what? My cable bill went up. My gas bill went up. My utility bill went up. But here, there is no incentive. We passed a budget. Last year we passed a budget. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. We went through the same thing again this year. And here we are transferring to the penny $538. Now, here's another thing that bothers me immensely, and it's in the language. It has nothing to do with the department, but I'll use the police department to begin with because they're first. Expended approximately, primarily. Who works these numbers so everything comes out to the penny? I want cold, hard facts. I want to know exactly how much in excess of each of these budgets was expended and why. And why, when a budget comes down to the wire, someone in your department, and we have talked about this before, someone in your department doesn't say, you know what, I'll use human resources so not to offend any department that's sitting in the audience. You've already expended 80% of the budget and you've got 6 months left. You need to start taking a hard look. I will not support this. And I know it'll pass, but I'm not supporting it because my vote will be a vote of no confidence. It's about time that we started living within our budget. If there are things that come up, then they need to come up and they need to be addressed long before this. Approximately, I got my tax bill. I think I'll pay approximately what I think is, and I'm being facetious and I'm being catty and that kind of stuff, but that's how I am. This is the reality of it. So I'm going to pay, I pay this, my tax bill was, let's say, $5,000. I'm going to pay you $4,000 because that's approximately what I can primarily afford. When are you going to, John, when is your department going to start? Every month we get the preliminary figures, and every month Alderwoman Gould goes over them with a fine-tooth comb. She is to be congratulated for being, and she's not looking to pick out things. She doesn't have the same kind of personality that I do. But she will come to us and she will say, look, so-and-so department has already expended 80% of their budget, and yet they keep on spending. Now, I can understand unforeseen things, but what were the ones that higher than anticipated materials and supplies and utilities? I want to see an itemized list. I want to see how much more Laurel Hill, a tiny, tiny department. What did they spend $3,000 on? $3,000. And as I say, the thing that I find most amusing is that it comes out penny to penny, $538,000. And as far as the school is concerned, if I had my way, they wouldn't get a penny. They would not get a penny because they are the biggest offender of all. And we are held hostage. So, of course, it will pass. These are obligations that we have, and next year we'll be in the same position. It never gets any better. And it's disappointing to me. It really is disappointing to me. So, as I said, I will be voting no on this strictly as a vote of no confidence.
Thank you. Alderman Brown.
Browning, I just have a question, Josh, and obviously I'm not grasping your report. For the amount of money we're transferring to the Department Board of Education, in the next month or two, are there any outstanding bills that are going to come back in addition to this, which will need to be paid for the previous year?
The 1.1 million will cover all 2017-18 expenditures for the Board of Ed general fund budget.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Alderman Burnham.
Take my glasses. I think it would help Alderwoman Philbrick to remember that Josh sent us a memo outlining in more detail than what's here on the second, and that. And I understand your concerns with this, but he did go into it's a 2.5-page memo sent on August 2nd to outline exactly why we have to do each of these things, and goes into a bit more detail, maybe not the detail that you would want, but a bit more detail on each of the line items.
And if I may, since I broke my leg, I have not had any access to social media, or the only information I get is from when somebody calls me on the phone and gives it to me. I don't have access to the other things, so I apologize for that. But
well, I can, anything like that, I can mail it to you, or
that'd be good.
drop, get it to you somehow.
Oh, I see. Can you just?
Thank you. Are there further
I'm
questions
not
of the
quite sure.
Comptroller?
I'm not quite done.
Please, go right ahead.
Stacy just shared with me, because as I say, Stacy is right on target. If you ever want to know anything, Stacy has the information. Okay, Laurel Hill Fire Department. This is the explanation. This department has experienced higher than anticipated costs in its material, gas, oil, and grease, utilities, and building maintenance line items. It will need a transfer of $3,000. Fine, but I want to know what kind of building maintenance? Why is there oil and grease more? That all falls under the public, the garage. I need more information in order to make, thank you, informed decisions. And unfortunately, I don't feel that I have the information here tonight to support this. But as I say, my vote won't matter because.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Alderman DeLucia.
Actually, I will defer to Alderwoman Gould because she hasn't spoken on this issue yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please.
Okay. Thank you, Joanne, for your kind words. And Josh knows that I am sort of I have a yellow highlighter that I like to use and ask questions about the budget. And a very smart man employed by the City of Norwich told me that there was no reward in the City of Norwich for being fiscally responsible. And while I understand your concerns about transferring money, some of these things are unforeseen, I am sure. Other expenditures are not unforeseen, just poorly budgeted. So I do agree with you that we need to have some kind of stopgap at some point in time at the 6-month mark, other than me hounding Josh, that reminds department heads that this is where you are and this is what you've got left, and I think they probably all know that. And we have to, like Alderman Philbrick said, we have to tighten our fiscal belts. I understand storms come, things happen, but to be creating a budget and working as hard as we do, banging our heads together to create a budget, and then out the window it goes, it's disappointing. And I think all of the department heads have to understand that during tough times, we have to be mindful of how much money we are spending. In my small business, if I went to my father this afternoon and said, "Oh, you know, Dad, I've overspent about $300,000," it wouldn't be a good thing for a conversation. So we need to do a little bit better on tightening our belts with transfers that we have to do at the end of the year.
Yes, Alderman Browning.
I see that Ryan Thompson has his hands up. I'd like to call him up.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but- No, up to the microphone, please. Yeah.
I can offer an explanation on why some of the parts and the maintenance stuff has occurred and has increased. If you go back for the last at least 3 years since I've been in this department, Fleet Maintenance has asked for increase in parts budget items consistently to match the expenditures and the increase in parts that they have to pay to maintain the fleet. That price doesn't go down just because the budget that's approved by the council is lower. It hasn't been raised the entire time I've been in my position, but yet we request it. And we have to maintain these vehicles. We don't have a choice. We can't just say we're not going to put a cruiser back on the road, or we're not going to put a fire apparatus back on the road. So that's one of the reasons why these parts are over budget. I just wanted to offer that because that was one of the things that came up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alderman DeLucia.
I don't have any further questions for Josh, but I do have a couple more comments on this.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. So I would just like to maybe get a little bit of clarification, because while Alderwoman Gould's reputation for combing through the monthly financials is well known and appreciated, I'm sure, when Alderwoman Philbrick talks about how she informs us, I don't remember ever, in the time that I've been sitting up here, receiving any sort of report regarding the budget and financials, other than the email that includes the financials that we all get each month. To me, that would seem like that would be a function of the Budget and Finance Committee if it were making a report to the council. But to my knowledge, that subcommittee of this council has never even met. So when we're saying that, when we say that, this budget combing process leads to information delivered to us, that is not entirely accurate, because it's not us that are getting the benefit of this information, and it leads us to a larger issue, as I should say, in the form of all of the subcommittees, even the ones that I'm assigned to. Why are we not making regular routine reports back to the council on those individual subcommittees, especially when you listen to the comments that have been made from this dais tonight, all valid comments. However, with the budget being the most important thing that we do other than choosing a city manager, we have not heard a single monthly report out of the subcommittee whose purpose that should be. So having said that, Mr. Mayor, I appreciate you allowing me to speak a second time, and I yield the floor.
Thank you. Is there further comment on the resolution? I'll add a little. One, these transfers are happening because these departments didn't spend all their dollars, and I'm grateful for that. You often hear that there's a rush in government for everyone to spend their last dime so they can ask for more the next year. Well, this is an example of some efforts where funds were saved. And so I think someone should say thank you for that, because it does help us deal with issues. An issue that hasn't been raised tonight is the midterm cuts that the state sent our way in the fiscal year that has now closed. And that is a portion of the issue that we're addressing here tonight and in 2 weeks as well. So we shouldn't lose sight of that, because I think it's important to note that we ask ourselves to live within our budget. We ask the state to live with the budget that they pass and are going to share with us, because we do receive municipal aid. Well, they didn't in the last fiscal year. They cut us midterm in a number of ways, including education, by the way, which also results in some of this issue being addressed in two parts, one tonight and finally in 2 weeks. And with that, all those in favor of the resolution? Opposed? Thank you. The vote is 6-1. Motion passes.
Okay, new business resolution 5, relative to City Manager Salamone accepting Tyler Lane as a city street.
Motion to bring this forward, please. Alderman Gould, second Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman Browning.
I'd like to invite Ryan Thompson to come forward and discuss it, because this is, I believe, that with his department's purview. If you could give us a short history of the issue, that would be appreciated.
Thank you. Tyler Lane is currently a road that we maintain. It meets city standards. It was built in the 80s, sometime thereabouts. For whatever reason, it wasn't accepted. There's no reason not to accept it now, based on my, my review and the city engineer's review. It would get us additional money, town aid money, if we do accept it. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there further discussion or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous vote is 7-0. 6, please.
New business resolution 6, relative to City Manager Salamone assisting Unified Business Solutions and the Lofts of Panema Mills on obtaining the necessary approvals.
Motion to bring it forward, please. Alderman DeLucia first, the second, Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Okay, I'm going to ask for an amendment to this resolution. It is just to clarify some minor issues. The amendment reads unified. It should say unify. And at the end of the word solutions, it should also add LLC. And the date should be changed to the 20th. So if someone would please make a motion to include those changes. Oh, she wants to change it. It doesn't have a title on the agenda. Okay. And the last part of the amendment would be, as it reads in the agenda, the title would be Oktoberfest at the Lofts at Panema Mills, just for clarification purposes. Okay. Just to get it straight, if you read in the second line in the first paragraph where it says after Oktoberfest, it would then read at the Lofts at Panema Mills. And then the date is the 20th, not the 13th, and so forth. So the motion to amend was made by Alderman DeLucia, second by Pro Tem Nash. All those in favor of the amendment? Unanimous. Any further discussion on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor on the resolution as amended? It's unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
New business ordinances. An ordinance appropriating $2,700,000 for the replacement of public safety radio system and authorizing the issue of $2,700,000 bonds of the city to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Okay, I'd accept a motion to schedule this public hearing on the 20th of August at 7:30 PM. First read, Alderman DeLucia, second, Pro Tem Nash, and, I'm sorry, as well as the second reading, yeah. Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous?
Mr. Mayor, may I have a moment? I'm not discussing the bond, I just have a moment.
Please?
I just want to make sure the public knows that on Wednesday, August 8th, there will be a public safety meeting here in North City Hall, room 335, where the chief of police will put on a presentation explaining the bond, explaining the need for the bond, just so if anyone wants to attend, anyone out watching this on television. And just real quick, it's funny how perceptions in the world are different. I see all these police officers here, and I'm excited and happy to have them here. I wasn't worried about my safety one bit, knowing that one of the finest police departments in the state of Connecticut is standing here. So I want to thank all you guys for being down here tonight, and I hope to see some of you on Wednesday. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, new business ordinance number 2, an ordinance appropriating $8,470,000 for the City of Norwich Economic Revitalization Initiative to spur economic development and authorizing the issue of $8,470,000 bonds of the city to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to schedule this public hearing on the 20th of August at beginning of the meeting at 7:30 PM and the second reading. Alderwoman Stacey Gould, second. Alderman Nash. All those in favor? Unanimous, 7-0.
New business ordinance 3, an ordinance regarding additional fiscal year 2017-18 appropriations for the General Fund, Town Consolidation District, and City Consolidated District.
Entertain a motion, please, to schedule a public hearing, again on the 20th of August, beginning at the council meeting at 7:30 PM, and to dispense with the second reading. Alderman DeLucia, second, and Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Alderwoman Burnham. All those in favor? Unanimous.
Folks, I put some flyers out for the upcoming fundraiser for the howitzer, for the memorial for November 11th, so please grab one. There's some sponsorship forms in the lobby.
people are quite interested in what you might specifically